Hey guys, I'm making this video today to show you all the steps into fixing a red ringed Xbox, the 3 red rings. This is a step-by-step video, and if you follow all directions, you can do it today actually. First, we have to pop off the front cover. That just pops right off, and it's not too hard, just don't break it. Next, we're gonna have to take off the covers on the top and bottom of the Xbox. If you get a small little screwdriver, you can get in the holes on the side and pop out the tabs, but you can break these tabs pretty easily, and it's no big deal if you do. It just won't be together as well. Do the same on the other side and just pops right off. Next, we're gonna have to pop the top cover off. On the back side of the Xbox, by where you plug in the cords, there's like 6 holes maybe that you just put a screwdriver into and pop out the tabs. Then on the front of the Xbox, you take all, it's pretty self-explanable, but it's just 3 little tabs that you have to pop off so that the cover can come off and it's not holding on to anything. There it is. Next, we are gonna have to take the screws out that hold the casing on there. These are just all around the edges. You can see them as soon as you pop that cover off, and if some people don't take out all the screws around the edges at first because one holds the back cover on, but I do it anyways because a bunch of screws hold the motherboard and a bunch of other screws hold the casing on. The casing screws, though, are bigger, so you can tell which ones they are. After you get those out, then you're on to the next step. Take all those out, pretty easy. Alright, next we are going to have to take the cover off. That just pops off after you get the screws out. Careful not to break the thing for the tray to come out. There it is. And then we have to get the disc reader out. It has 2 little cords you just pull out. Not too difficult at all. Pull the cover for the fans to go to the heat sinks out. Pull the fans out, unplug them. Then pop the cover off for the power button. Next, we are going to take the screws out of the motherboard for the power button. Those are just 3 little screws. Take them out, pretty easy. And then it's plugged in to the motherboard in the inside, so you just pull it out, be careful. And then take the last set of screws out. It's on the middle. There's 8 of them. Just take them out, lefty-loosey, righty-tighty. This is holding the heat sinks on, so you have to do that. The heat sinks on the motherboard, so the motherboard will not come out if you do not have these out. 8 little black screws, not too hard. There's that. Alright, next we are going to pull the motherboard out, right there. Alright, there's the microprocessors that need to be cleaned, and those are the heat sinks. And this is called number 1. It's just a cleaner, I guess. Put it on everything, wait about 30 seconds to a minute, then wipe it off. Do this on the microprocessors and the heat sink. Then we are going to take the X-clamps on the back off. This is called the X-clamp fix, so this is basically the main part of what we are doing. We're putting washers underneath what is holding them on right now to make it a tighter clamp. Alright, this is number 2. It's another cleaner. It's just the second step, I guess. Put it on the microprocessors and on the heat sinks like before. And then next we are going to put the heat sinks back on. Put your thermal paste on, spread it around the microprocessor pretty good, and then that's done. Put the washers that I was talking about on the back to make it a tighter clamp. Get one of your X clamps, put it on there. You might have to work with it a little bit because it's kind of tough sometimes. And then there's that thermal paste. Put it on the other microprocessor. Move it around, then put the other X clamp back on like you did before. Do not forget the washers. It's the main part of this fix. Push them all down, make sure they're clipped. There's that. Next we have to put the motherboard back into the case. Just line it up and it should slide right in there. And then put the fans back in, plug them in. And then put the disc reader back, or plug those cords back into the back of it and put it back onto the Xbox. Then next we're gonna reapply the power button motherboard and just make sure it goes back into that slot or the plug-in it was in. Put your 3 screws back in. Done. Not too tight that it breaks the motherboard or the green thing right there. Next, put your middle screws back in that you took out last. Put all those 8 screws in. Yep. Again, not too tight that it breaks the inside motherboard. That would be just a tragedy. If they don't seem like they're going in right or they're too tight at the beginning, it's probably because you do not have the motherboard lined up right, and that is a problem because you need that for it to work again. So take it back apart because you cannot force things. Tighten them all up. And then that is done. Now time to test it. So before you get all the stuff back on, you might want to test it first and see no more red rings. But sometimes you might need to reheat it and then try it again, but I didn't that time. Next, put all your outer screws back on, the littler screws, not the ones that go all the way through to the other cover, but your littler screws that hold the motherboard on. Tighten all those up. Again, not too tight, nothing too tight really on this type of project. And then we are about done, so stay with us. Do not lose any of these steps. Next, we are going to put the cover back on for the power button. Just clip it on there. And then put the front cover on again. Do not break the button for the disc to come out. Put that on. Smash it together like a sandwich. And then put the screws, the longer screws, back through so it holds that cover we just put on. Because you don't want that falling off while you're trying to play a sick game of Modern Warfare 2 or something like that. Or MX vs. ATV Alive, because that's what I play. But I do race in real life, so don't try to call me a nerd or something. Alright, and then clip everything back together, those 3 little clips in the front that we had to take off at the beginning. This is sometimes a hassle. I don't know, like there's just a weird strategy to it that you gotta figure out while doing it. But you gotta basically just push everything back together so that it clips down. You'll always hear a click like in these backs because it's a cover going into tabs. And then that's done. And then put your covers back on the top and bottom, just clip right in there. They just push in, not too hard at all. And then your front cover back on. And then you're ready to play some Xbox 360. Thank you.